let me introduce myself. My name is Dustin German. I'm the CEO of Rapid Systems. Rapid Systems is 28 years old. That's really hard for me to accept because I've been working for the man for 28 years now. Prior to Rapid, I was a senior scientist in healthcare throughout the United States, and I worked for some of the top 10 companies in the world doing that. I did a lot of work for military contractors. Prior to that, back in the early days of the computers, there was this chain. It was called Soft Warehouse, and I was a 20th employee of that, and we grew that into 140 stores. We changed the name to CompUSA a little bit later on, and that was a wild ride at the beginning of the computer industry. So I'd certainly say that I've had opportunity to see from the beginning of the computer industry. My first job was in a mainframe and the PC, and to where we're at today with phones, and now the top buzzword, AI, right? Artificial intelligence, and where we're headed with that. And then prior to that, I worked for a little company that was called Seagate, which previously was named Shugart, and they made the first thing. It's this incredible big device called the hard disk. And today we don't even think about storage that much because we have an iPhone with a terabit on it or some stupid amount of storage. But we were building the first 20 meg hard drives back then, and that's hard to really think about when you're that old too, you know.
So old.
So old. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Everybody was thinking it.
So let me just introduce my work wife, our engineering manager, Chris Cuddy. He has been, we've been together for over 15 years prior to 2010. Now, for Rapid Systems in Hardy County, back around 2000, I think it was about 2008, 2009, we started working with the economic development and bringing a concept to Hardy County that would enable broadband in the rural market. And we were able to get a $2 million loan from the IDA, or a grant, and then Rapid kicked in about $6.6 million in order to complete the system over so many years, over 2 years. And that system started to get deployment in 2010. I think we were mostly done by about 2012. Ooh, look at that. On that. And we deployed some of the initial technology, and that system's been upgraded multiple times. Now, while we're going to talk about some cool stuff, we're going to talk about culinary arts and infrastructure today. You guys did not know we were talking about that stuff, did you? We're going to talk about both of those things and how they're almost sort of related or the same. You guys may leave here being able to cook. Maybe not. Has everybody here ever made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Everybody has? Everybody. Okay, so pretty easy concept on that, right? So one of the things that I like to teach or talk about is how infrastructure is like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's, and when I grew up, I had a different idea about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Because if it was on this stuff here, the Wonder Bread, that was like the bomb. At least for me, it was. Mr. Cuddy here, being an accomplished chef, is going to talk about infrastructure as I discuss it, and he's going to talk about it in the way of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Right? And since most of you guys have built peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I'm assuming that you've done them right and done them wrong, right? But if I asked all you guys how to build that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, maybe some of you guys would do it a little different. So it'll be interesting to see how Mr. Bougie peanut butter and jelly sandwich here would go ahead and do it.
Well,
Can I lead? Are you leading? Are you dancing? Am I dancing? Who's dancing?
I'm the word wife, so.
You're the word. Okay. I always like to think about that first layer, right? If you want to have really good technology, and you want to do drones and all this other stuff, you got to have a good layer. If you want to do a really good peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you got to have a good layer too, right? This Wonder Bread probably isn't the right product for that, right? It's delicious. It's super soft, it's super squishy, right? But it may not hold good bread, good spread for the peanut butter. I mean, so tell us how you're fixing this problem.
Well, my experience with the Wonder Bread is usually you take the peanut butter out of the refrigerator And if you just go straight for the Wonder Bread, you're gonna have peanut butter on your hands. Is that anybody else? Maybe when they were a kid, okay, maybe it's just me. So
Could be.
It could just be me, I don't know.
Yeah.
We all have different adventures. So I chose a nice brioche bread
Nice brioche bread.
for our foundation of our sandwich.
Okay, so it's not stale bread.
It's fresh cut from the bakery yesterday.
Okay.
Last night.
So that's kind of similar to that first layer that you would drop into network infrastructure. I have to have a solid foundation. Anything I put on top of that, right, whether it's at your home, your business, or on a campus, anything that I go and put on top of that first layer, if the first layer is jacked up, everything else is going to be broken. Now, Randy just got back from some trip out in third world countries, and it's funny because the sales manager comes back and he goes, man, their internet is horrible, right? Now, that internet piece, that's really somewhere up here. That's in the peanut butter and jelly section. That's not in that first layer. But if the first layer of infrastructure is bad, then everything that sits on top of it would be bad.
So Dustin, is the first layer like the poles?
The what?
The poles with the...
Very interesting. So yeah, so the first layer can be a lot of different things. In the Hardin County Broadband project, our first layer was the pole and the interconnection between the poles. But here, in the facility that we've been sitting here, and this has been, how long has New Hope had their infrastructure for? About a year and a half. They have something that's a little different. So thank you for that intro there. Their first layer is built off of this. Their first layer, and this is going to make sense to you guys in a second, okay? It's built off of this B5000. So this facility has a unique problem. There is no fiber between the campus buildings. There's no copper between the campus buildings, or actually there's a limited amount, right? But nothing for high-speed network play. So in this case, their infrastructure or their layer of bread, how are we going to connect all this stuff together? Before we do anything else, before we do anything cool, we still have to get that first layer in there. Before I can have anything delicious, I got to have a solid foundation of the first layer. And that's what this does, and we have this deployed here for the last year and a half, which has been functional. And it has a couple of these too. Let me show you guys and why that's important. And this is just a unique little radio system, but it completely replaces any fiber optics that are needed into the ground or any copper. If I run copper between these buildings, are you guys aware that Florida is like the lightning capital of the world? And you see lightning once in a while in the summer. It's an oddity, right? But every once in a while you'll see it. So anytime lightning hits the ground and you have copper in the ground, it happens, and really is terrible if you ever got your home hit by lightning, because stuff breaks for months. I mean, just out of nowhere. Oh, TV's bad now. So Cambium likes to show this little video, and it shows that these things have two sectors on them. And what that means is there's actually two high-speed radios in this unit, one that goes in one direction, one that goes in another. So here on this campus, we have this 5000 located over in this facility, and then we have these little cute little 1000s radios located at each of the other buildings, and that enables every one of these buildings to have all the super cool applications. So if I didn't have a really good piece of infrastructure, right, that'd be the equivalent of Cuddy trying to make this delicious sandwich on brochet. Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread. Make sense? And this stuff works at gigabit speeds. It's actually faster than fiber. Now, the point that I'm trying to make about the infrastructure is as we try to get to these next-gen applications where we're using artificial intelligence or even basic internet, right? And you're trying to watch some YouTube videos or something else. If that first layer, and the first layer in your home may be your router, and some of you guys may have bigger homes and may need a couple routers or a mesh system or something else. And usually most mesh systems end up to be a mess, right? Because you get to that other part of your house where you're on the second router, and it just doesn't work as well for some reason or another. And that's really because your infrastructure, your first layer, isn't solid. I don't know about you guys, I know in my house I have almost 90 devices. And I would have never thought there would have been that many. But you got 2 thermostats, stupid stuff, like the coffee machine now has Wi-Fi, like if I wanted to start it from bed or something, I could do that. A lot of different applications out there. Plus the kids have 3 or 4 devices apiece. Everybody's got a watch, an Apple Watch and stuff like that. Just the amount of devices, right? And the quality of your infrastructure, when you start increasing the amount of devices, not only in your house and the amount of broadband consumption that you use, tends to just continuously go up and up and up. So we went from 3 meg service to 10 meg service to 25 meg service. Now we're delivering 100 meg service, and tomorrow we have 250, 500 gigabit service. That would be our brand, right? Our layer 1. Here is the layer 1 of New Hope. And it utilizes this for layer 1. Once I've got all these buildings connected, right, with a solid piece of bread, I can move on to adding some more cool stuff to it. And we'll go through some examples of that and why that's really important. Let me just give you another one. This one we just did. A year later, this just happened. It is the
DeSoto County Fair.
DeSoto County Fair. So they had some issue a year ago, and they needed to add some cameras and some stuff, but they had no infrastructure, no fiber in the ground, no time to do it, nothing else. And they needed an inexpensive solution to happen, right? But we were able to actually go over there and sit down with them and talk to them a little bit and say, we can make that happen. This isn't the most expensive solution, this Terragraph solution, but it's not the cheapest either. But if we shortcut that first layer of bread, it's nothing but trouble. So we were able to drop this system in for them and then add the peanut butter and the jelly that's on top of that and make it work. If we just took that first layer that we were adding to their peanut butter, right? I could just imagine, Cuddy, there's 5 different ways to put peanut butter down on that sandwich, right? There's probably some right ways and some wrong ways. Got any advice?
I want to start with being fairly clean hands, clean utensils. Make sure you're well organized. But yeah, I'm about ratio, so I like putting a lot of peanut butter. And they also have to cover from edge to edge, of course.
It's horrible when you get the peanut butter sandwich and it doesn't work at the edges, right? Because you always have a bad bite. Oh, he's doing that. It just kind of drift off on my daughter. One morning, my daughter's making a sandwich for school. She makes a sandwich. She takes a bite out of it. She sticks it in the bag. She makes another sandwich. She takes a bite out of it and sticks it in the bag. You're sitting there as a dad, you're watching this. You gotta ask, right? I mean, you just gotta ask at this point. I said, Willow, why are you biting the sandwiches and putting them in the bag? She says, Dad, of course you gotta test them. I can't argue, right? I can't argue being a technical guy. I can't. So you have a nice spread on there to the edges. No bad bites?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, great. So once I've got that down, I start getting it. Let me ask you guys a question. When you guys go jelly, right? This is interesting, right? Do you guys go jelly on a separate piece of bread? Or do you go jelly on top of the peanut butter? How many are jelly on a separate piece of bread? Oh, how many are jelly on peanut butter? Is there anybody double peanut butter sides and jelly in the middle that doesn't? We got one?
Peanut butter on both sides, jelly in the middle.
Why do you do that?
Because I don't want the jelly to get all in the bread.
It gets soggy, right? It gets soggy. You guys never thought about that, right? It gets soggy. You know, there's some simple infrastructure mistakes that happen like that too. It doesn't get to the side, right? Maybe this other application won't work on this bread, or because I didn't spread this correctly, right? Or maybe if I would have done this, like you guys just spent all this money for infrastructure at your house or your business, right? And then you found out you got soggy bread because you didn't put peanut butter on both sides. Now, thank you for spanking Cuddy He will hear about your double peanut butter sides all the way home
Appreciate it.
today and tomorrow, and I will spread it through the company via rumors and other stuff. We'll need your name. You get credit. Okay. But kind of neat on that. And thank you, Cuddy, for doing it. You want to talk about jelly?
Smells good.
Smells good. Jelly smells good.
Smells good.
So if your jelly smells bad, do you always sniff your jelly up front?
No.
Does jelly go bad? I don't know.
It's not. No.
You're supposed to be the
You're
expert.
breaking my brain. I don't know.
You have
I pull it out of the refrigerator and I eat it.
You have the chefy thing. What would Ramsey say? We couldn't do that. We're
You
in
called
church.
me an idiot sandwich.
Yeah, I know.
Jellies is just as important.
Hey, now that we had a good infrastructure right at this location, we were actually able to start adding fun stuff right to the network. And because we got a solid foundation, we don't have to worry about it. So we added these. This is a representation of a heat map of their Wi-Fi access points. Since we connected everything, right? Now we can add Wi-Fi, and anybody can be in any area of the campus and walk through, right? And get good, fast, high-speed connections and stuff like that. So we added all these Wi-Fi access points at classrooms across the whole campus, and solid foundation, no problems. And for you guys at home that are using a mesh system or you need 2 routers in your home, the reason why that always doesn't work well is because Wi-Fi was always designed as you to the Wi-Fi router individual device. It was so for your phone to jump from the Wi-Fi upstairs or downstairs, or you're in your garage to your outhouse or something else like that, that phone has to make the decision. Now, when you get to better infrastructure, the infrastructure talks to each other. This all talks to a controller, and the controller says, hey, Dustin's iPhone, jump to this other AP, you're in a better spot. Your home doesn't do that, and your Wi-Fi extenders don't do that. So if you're having those problems in your house and you want to blame your ISP, because that never happens.
Nope.
Then that may be something that you need to look at a better product for doing that. But nobody ever told you that up front, that Wi-Fi is a one-to-one relationship, one router to one AP. That's on there. But it needs to be able to add that stuff. And then once it's managed by a single platform, right, when I can collect everything, because I got that good peanut butter, I got good bread that I'm layering on, then I can start seeing which I can manage this infrastructure. And that way when somebody calls up and tells me that it runs terrible, right, which we did yesterday, and I wish we would have got the screenshot of it, we could go in and find out. So yesterday, because we were having this today, we went and looked at New Hope's infrastructure, and we found that the Wi-Fi in this building was down. The power was up. But we found the Wi-Fi in the building's down, and to us, we're like, Macaulay Cochran, the Wi-Fi's down. And we could see that the 2 buildings were down, right? And we could get that taken care of. Now that's more of big corporate stuff, right? But if you think about it, how important is Wi-Fi, whether or not you got people coming in here with laptops or phones or other stuff? It's a critical part of communications, especially being in a rural market where we don't have great cell phone service out here, right? Do you have any more jelly advice? You want to show us how you do your jelly? You changing tool? You have a different tool for the jelly?
I feel like everybody at home would either get something new, or lick the knife, or spread the peanut butter on the other piece before you dip it in the jelly.
So do we have any knife lickers? Do we have knife lickers? You can admit it. Nobody here's a knife licker.
Butter knife? No? Am I the only
Come
one?
on. No one will admit it. They won't admit it.
I know everybody does it.
Everybody does. Okay, good. They got that.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So,
But
same
but
thing.
Cuddy even has like the custom bread cutter. Like you get to a point of being so bougie on this. He has his own, this is saved for bread only. Because I would use the same knife to do everything.
I live in Tampa.
I would lick, cut, lick peanut butter, lick jelly.
Oh, okay.
Lick, clean.
Yes.
Put it back in the drawer.
Okay.
No? Okay. All right. So in DeSoto County, they needed to be able to look at this remotely and stuff like that. So once we had their infrastructure up, we were able to add a very inexpensive camera system. Now notice exactly what I said. We We put the money, we talked to them about putting the money into the core infrastructure, and then we saved them a bunch of money with great 4K cameras, but they were a low-cost camera system. But they needed this because apparently there was a fatality. Is anybody aware of this? A couple of years ago? A year ago? Over there. So they couldn't open the fair back up without cameras. They didn't have infrastructure, right? And they've been having this ongoing problem of their point-of-sale systems not having enough service in order to actually run, I don't know if they have beer sales, hot dogs, whatever they sell there. Funnel cake? Yeah, yes. All right, I'm kind of disappointed you didn't take the time, Cuddy, to put peanut butter on that other side. You're really hard-headed.
I kept looking at her, and then I was just like internalizing, and I made my bed already. So
Is this because you're married?
No.
Okay, shows not to fight that one. Okay. You want to talk about putting it together?
It's the best part because we're about to eat it.
Okay.
So once you have your pieces together, I'd like to obviously put it together.
Now, if you don't pat it and leave it all loose, is that a violation?
Yeah, probably going to get it all over your shirt.
Okay.
Unless you have a lobster bib on, I don't. You look
I
like
like
a
to
bib
wear
person.
that.
Yeah,
I'm a bib guy.
Yeah. So do you like your sandwiches cut?
Of course.
Diagonal or regular?
All right. So what is I like them cut the proper way.
It's subjective.
The proper way. See, we're married. Kind of during the day.
I have a knife. Yes.
Why does the
I'll put it down.
yeah. No. All right, so I just asked a question, right? Is that, do we have center cutters? Who's a center cutter? One center cutter? On the sandwich.
Cutting the sandwich.
Yeah, you're a center cutter. I can only go down. It's not bougie unless it's diagonal to me. And we got any diagonal cutters? I'm it. I'm the only diagonal. 2. I got 2. All right, you can admit it if you're a diagonal cutter. Come on, Randy, back me up, man. This is some baloney. All right, how are you gonna? No, don't do it for me, Cuddy.
I'm doing it for myself.
Oh, it's all about you again.
It's Valentine's Day.
You didn't get me a Valentine's Day, and this is about you. Okay.
And then I also like to.
This is plating now. See the plating technique there? Now, I still say it's not right without a cloth napkin. All right. Some other things. If I really want to start doing cool stuff, right? Because that's what I like to do. I like to show you guys some cool stuff. If I want to do some cool stuff, I've got to have really good technology and a really good background to start doing that. And you'll notice that there's some different things that are happening in these screens that you see here. And this so happens to be part of Rapid Systems headquarters. And we had some big problems. This is in Midtown, Tampa. So we have our facility here, which is our distribution facility, but the help desk and some of the accounting folks, they work in Tampa, and this is our Tampa office. And we had a lot of issues in the Tampa office because the building is right at the edge of Midtown. And as people started, so you had West Shore District, you had downtown Tampa, and then somebody got the bright idea, let's hide all the slum in between, and we'll make it Midtown. We'll charge a lot of money for it. People will move in. They'll overspend money, right? They don't need a car or anything else, right? And we'll put in a couple bougie restaurants that Cuddy likes, right? Is there a good one out there you can recommend to these guys?
True Kitchen is good.
True Kitchen. I can't afford that. Anyway, so a lot of the folks got pushed out of Midtown, and it's become interesting on the sides. And that just so happens to be where our office is, right in between Midtown and Walmart. So we had a lot of problems, fencing and stuff like that would happen, people stealing electricity, breaking car windows, stuff like that. So we used a little bit different of a technology. So we had a great infrastructure for the backbone, and what we did is we used cameras that are called edge devices. Each camera has its own microprocessor in it. So the cameras around the building talk amongst that great bread, and they share information with each other for when alerts happen. So the whole building starts screaming at you when you violate one of the sensors. So we have a couple different programs. We watch the staff as they leave at night. So this is all automated over there. You'll notice that Denise is leaving, and the camera is watching her. It's watching to see if she leaves a package behind, and it's also watching to see that she actually leaves and doesn't get killed. Pretty good, right? Until she gets off the property. Then if she gets killed after that, it's not my problem, right? So what we did is, you notice these boxes on the side here? So what we did was that we used that edge technology, programmed all the cameras, and when you break one of these, the laser pointer, their TV here is so bright and good, our laser pointer doesn't work. But when you break one, you see those boxes with the white lines in it? When you break one of those white boxes with the white lines like that, all the cameras start screaming after 5 o'clock.
Audibly yelling at people walking in the parking lot. Yeah.
We don't have to do it. There's a little store called Publix. Are you guys familiar with the Publix? You guys know what a Publix is? I know we got them in Hardin County. Start looking up and seeing what they're doing. This is very smart what Publix has done. One, you can't move an inch in Publix now without being completely on camera. They did a great job of doing this because they match these camera poles with the white ceilings, and you're walking in and now you'll see it, but you weren't seeing it before, right? But they did a lot of tricky, very cool things with their infrastructure. One, right, when we talked about you gotta have that solid foundation, just like in a peanut butter jelly sandwich. But also, you can do a lot of things that tweak that stuff forward with the right equipment, and maybe you could drop the cost of the right equipment. This is not my favorite camera that's on there, but it's working extremely well because what they did is they dropped it down. They dropped it underneath the eyebrow. You know, nobody thought about that. If a guy's got a hat on, right, a criminal here, as you're walking around, they can't catch your eyes, right, from the camera. If the camera's above your head, you can't catch your eyes. So having the right techniques in place for your infrastructure as well, you'll notice that they were low on DeSoto, but most people would mount a camera way up here at the top because, hey, I'm going to get the best distance. But my point of this is always, look, when I mount cameras, the first thing I think about is my children. If I don't know that you got a booger hanging out your nose and what color your eyes are, I ain't gonna get my kids back if you snatch one of my kids. So I'll make sure that this camera system works right and it works well. This is my favorite one. So this is an AI camera. It's got we call it the UFO. It's got 360 on the background, the 364 cameras on the outside, and then a pizza Z in the middle. This is everywhere you guys are driving. Everywhere. Every modern police department uses these. This is actually done for a city. This we were doing when we were initially this is something from when we were initially onboarding the cameras. What I love about this is the next 2 minutes. Now again, solid infrastructure. You're out in the water plant. You guys just saw a water plant, right? You're out this is a water distribution facility. Water is a big deal right now with Department of Homeland Security. Everything has to be under video surveillance. I've got to have a tag. This camera's doing itself. Did you see that? Hello, stop sign. Goodbye, stop sign. Did you guys notice that one? He just rolled right on through. Hey, let's just roll that one too, right? But I just love the AI, and then it returns back home, right? It's very smart. And these cameras are now doing the majority of work for the police department as well. And these are all high-end 4K cameras that operate. Now, when you drive downtown Tampa, you run through that same series of intersections, right? But the thing is, it's got to get the most one. Oh, let's see. Let's just roll right in front of another truck. I love these stops. Nobody cares about stop signs in a pocket. That's my favorite video. Everybody runs these 2 stop signs, even in F-350s. I'll let that run. Do you guys have the point that we're trying to make today really is about, one, that's an amazing sandwich. And Cuddy's made some of those amazing sandwiches. Everybody's interested. There's a bag. It's got some bougie sandwich in there and over there. Cuddy came to us before that. He was a sous chef at
Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory. So before succumbing to be a complete nerd like me, he was a culinary. So he can make a hell of a sandwich too. You gotta love how that picks up the light. He needs a tailgate hanger for his exhaust there. Somebody needs to let him know. It's over there. It's funny because they installed these cameras, right? Everybody saw them install these cameras the next 2 or 3 days, right? But nobody bothered to think about this thing is just, just catching everybody, run the red lights, run the stop sign. Nobody stops and they just run through. Here's another guy. Why bother? Just run right through and keep going, Just a lot of fun. The city loves seeing, I'm sure they love seeing that. That's over there. Does anybody have any, so the point being this is that if you build it in layers and if you've got to save some money or something else, as long as you build that solid first layer, you could save some money on the second layer. That's in there in your cool apps. But if you want to do all the stuff that everybody wants to do right now, and that's going to be hot for the next 2 or 3 years, applying some artificial intelligence to your business or to your home or something else like that, you got to focus on having good equipment, and just going out and buying it at Best Buy doesn't necessarily work well for businesses. It works good for a house if it's you and a small area, a small home, 1,500 feet, stuff like that. Once you get outside of that, some of that cool stuff's not going to work, or it's not going to work good, or you'll just make that comment that the internet sucks. Yes, sir?
How much would a system like that cost?
Which one?
The one that you put in.
Well, you do it in layers, right? So this isn't that bad. This that provides for about half a mile out, right, in the 270 degrees. This is about $2,000 for this guy, and these are about $200-300 a piece. And each of these is a gigabit on that one. So this stuff isn't that expensive. Now, some of the stuff, like what Cuddy had, what gets expensive is a good installation, right? Because anybody ever buy Goobers, peanut butter and jelly, where it's all in one? Do you know what I'm talking about though? Have you guys seen that? So some of you guys are smart enough to go,
She says no.
nothing good could come out of that, right? It's peanut butter and jelly pre-mixed, somehow slotted in the jar, right? You're shaking your head. Does it make you sick? Yeah, wait till you use it. And then throw in for a second peanut butter. You're like, it's pre-mixed, right? It's just not right. So part of the installation and having the right tools and the right cabling and stuff like that, that screws you just as bad as having the wrong materials sometimes. But this wasn't that bad. And once you get that first layer, that solid foundation that you could get there, then all this other stuff is really possible. That's there. And it doesn't matter whether it's a county broadband project, you're a mine, right? You're at home, or you're a church, or a fairgrounds, right? All that has the same concept that goes to it. So I hope that's something that you guys could take forward with it, and I hope you learned something about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Thank you. And I know, being a member here at this church, that a big push to have internet access across the campus came with COVID and doing live streaming in the sanctuary. Also, Sunday school classes using television, Wi-Fi to do lessons and curriculum. So we needed internet access church-wide, and it wasn't cutting it with the traditional router system.
I think they had like 6 routers.
And that's just a church. So imagine, from an economic development perspective, recruiting a business or investing in homes and infrastructure for houses, and then saying, "Come, work remote," and but you don't have internet.
Right,
or
right.
run a hospital, and then all of your devices not being able to connect. So the importance of investing in that good bread, the strong foundation, and Hardin County was on the precipice of it. What?
2010, yeah. Yeah, we're coming up on 15 years.
15 years ago. So
Yeah.